them. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
And off Barry, skirts to the left side, breaks a tackle, and he will take it in. Touchdown!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. That's what I'm talking about.
It is caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Oh, baby, what a play that time. Aiden Hutchinson read that and blew it up. Big time stand by that defense.
Welcome in, Lions Gray Mains fam. My name is Chris Stone. I'm at castahead.net. And that gentleman always joining me on the right side of your screen and on the right side of your ear balls. My man, the senior director of Lions Cornbread and Blue Kool-Aid. My man, Dr. Brent Kreider, DBC, in the house, getting ready for the Lions, hopefully, on a bounce back. What do you think?
Well, I think that it's been a few years since Dan Campbell has not won. And by the way, before I start, I love the MCDC shirt today, Chris. It's awesome. I wore my salute to service in honor of our nation's military veterans.
Thank you for your service, sir. Let me not go. Let's not go any further without saying thank you for your service. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. And the president's going to be in the house today, in our nation's capital. Salute to service shirt, and we are ready to roll here. We're going to have a special guest today, potentially, which I'll let you cover that. But it's very exciting to watch this Detroit Lions team play. As you see them arriving on the field there in Washington, I can't help but think that the Lions are, what we talked about last week coming off the bye. The Lions are going to be prepared to play football today. Yeah. There's a lot of aggression that's been pent up since last January, and we'll dig into all that. But it's really I can see a different attitude from the Lions players as they're warming up today. Much more aggressive out there on the field.
Yeah, it's a different thing. And they asked some of the players, they asked Goff about it this week. And, of course, Dan Campbell, Coach Campbell's also been asked about it. It's like, what is it after a loss that you do that, has them, for the last 3 seasons, has them just not doing this back-to-back thing? And I don't know if it was just them strategically answering it and, non-answering it, because you don't want to give away any sort of secret sauce, or maybe it's just nothing special. It's just, same as any other week. We have to play our opponent. We have to play the best we can, or what. Even Goff just didn't blink and just answered it. And so you don't really know, but it does feel like after a loss, and we saw it already this season. Obviously they have 3 losses and they follow it up with a win. I'd like to string those wins together for sure. And you touched on this. So the end of last season obviously ended with a 45-31 playoff loss at home. So this does feel like a bit of a revenge game, and you think that that's going to give them a little extra juice coming off a game that they just didn't feel like they were really ever in. If we're being honest, I think early on it kind of felt good, and then just the wheels came off, and it was crazy. So you did touch on this, Brent, and that is we will be having a guest that will be joining us, and his name is Jim Fuse. Also served our country as a Marine, and he's a retired lieutenant colonel with the Marine Corps, and a huge Washington Commanders fan. Way back in the day when they were called the Redskins. And so he's a huge fan. He's there for salute to service there in our nation's capital. And yes, El Presidente is in the house, and it will be it'll be heightened for sure. And so he just let me know that he's made it through security. And we tested out the audio. So we should be seeing him, and he's being joined by his wife Karen, and they're going to be just kind of showing the field. So you guys will get, if you're joining us live, you're going to get that pregame atmosphere that's happening that you don't get anywhere else, and we're stoked for that. Brent, you joined us early a few weeks ago. I thought it went incredibly well, especially considering. Speak of the devil, we have Jim that's joining us. Let me mute him really quickly. Jim, turn on your video, buddy. Hang on a sec. Are you hearing that, Brent? We're gonna add him.
Yeah.
We're gonna add him.
Very loud.
All right, Jim. We're gonna add you here, and hopefully this is gonna. We're gonna get here. Let me get the right spot for you. Hang on a sec, Jim. We're gonna get it right, and let me switch you here. I'm gonna add you. This is just.
And I can give you give you this look if you want. And I'm gonna switch the camera. No one wants to look at me, so let me.
Hang on a sec, Jim. I'm gonna mute him. That is just out. That is crazy. But let me try to get a screen for him. Here we go. Here we go. Now we have a shot of Jim. And I'm gonna bring him. Let me unmute him here.
I may go inside of the club here in a second because I can tell it's very loud for you guys.
Yeah, can you hear us, Jim?
Do you see? I can. Do you see? There's a lot of blue over there.
Oh yeah.
And I will tell you, there was a lot of blue in the parking lot, and I was telling them to go on YouTube and to tune into the Gray Mains pregame show.
Attaboy.
So even though you're talking to a Commanders fan, I am promoting the show, and then you can see some more Lions fans down there. And so I'm going to take you guys on a quick tour of what it's like to be at club level here at the Commanders Stadium. My seats are right up here in that next level up. I'm not quite here yet, but we're thinking about it. But we have really nice view of
your thumb
the
over the
50-yard
camera
line.
a little bit, Jim, in the upper.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I'm not a professional. I've never done this before. So we're going to walk into the club area. You can see some Commanders fans, and it won't be as loud. But,
hey, Jim, I just thought I'd let
I
you know
will
that
tell
Joe
you
Dexter.
that we did have to go through.
Oh, can you hear me now, Jim?
I'm listening.
Yeah, Joe Dexter chimes in, says, "Go Lions!" # sorry, Jim.
So this is the what we call the club level, and as you can see, not necessarily a lot of Lions fans in here yet, but I will look for some just for you guys. But maybe they didn't want to pay the extra money. You can see, remember Joe Gibbs?
Oh yeah.
You can see Joe Gibbs up here, and
there's Theismann.
I think where were they hiding? We had some Secret Service people are here, so. You know what that means. And so there's my beautiful bride. She doesn't know that she's live on YouTube. Oh, and then here we've got here's one of the Commandalorians.
What is that? What's a Commandalorian?
You will see, right?
Oh, it's like a Mandalorian, but they're all decked out in the mustard colors. I got it.
Oh, but they took their helmets off. They can't take their helmets off, can they?
Well, if they're going to drink a beer before
you're not
the
allowed
game.
to do. Yeah. Oh, wait. Hey, folks. We're right now live on a Lions show on YouTube. So would you like to say hello and where are you from?
Hello, I'm originally from Mexico. Hello, Lions.
Go Lions! We love the
And they say,
Calvin
"Go
Johnson
Lions."
jersey.
Go Lions! We'll feel this.
Yes. So there you go. See, we're actually on YouTube. It's called the Gray Mains. They go live every week. I'm friends with one of the producers, and he's a big Lions fan. I said, hey, I'm going to be at the game. So we said, why not show them what goes on?
It's a street team for Gray Mains right there, bro.
Oh, so we're going to have an original Detroit guy come out here in a minute once he gets out of the wonderful bathroom that we have here at
ask her what her prediction for the score
at
will
Northwest Stadium. What's your score prediction? You can be honest.
I think like 36-10.
36-10. Who? Lions. Oh my gosh.
Fist bump.
Oh my gosh.
If we get a
36-10
virtual fist bump.
Lions.
Virtual fist bump.
Yeah,
is
sorry.
coming.
He wants a fist bump. We'll give him a fist bump. All right. There we go. Yes, we do. Is this him? So we're actually live on YouTube. This is my friends. It's a show called The Gray Mains. They're big Lions fans. So you're from Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah.
What part of
They want to
Detroit?
know what part of Detroit?
Actually, west
West Side,
All right.
Chris. West Side. Yes. And what's your score prediction today? We got hers. Let's see what yours is. 31-10. Oh, so he's not as brutal as she was. She said 36-10.
We got to give him a virtual fist bump though for that score prediction.
And another virtual fist bump for you as well. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so make sure to check out the Gray Mains on YouTube. They go live every week, and they also do a post game on. Was it Tuesdays, Chris?
Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Tuesday nights at 7? They do an analysis of the game as well.
All right, and they can see themselves.
Yes. Yep. And so here's the Commandalorians. Do you guys want to say hi to the Lions fans? They're actually doing a show, and I'm the interviewing Lions fans for them. But you guys can see who I'm rooting for. But these guys look sharp, do they not? See,
yeah,
I don't see any Detroit guys dressed this way.
We need them in Honolulu.
Now.
Tell them we need them a Honolulu blue and silver instead of that mustard and ketchup color.
Oh, they want a Honolulu blue and silver one. You guys think you can come up with that for them? Awesome. Thank you, guys.
That's fun.
So yeah, it's a little different than let me see here. I'll let you guys see me again, maybe.
Yeah.
This Zoom thing is something else there, Chris Stone. I tell you.
Hey, you're making it work, Jim.
There
You're
we go.
making it work.
Oh, you go ahead. Let's see. We can wander around. Oh wait, there's a roof there. But I was going to show you, because what we ran into earlier, like I said, they had the Secret Service pat down. I had to pull everything out of my pocket. And because I'm actually just using the AirPod, what was funny is, I'll show you this. Let's see if I can get it on the screen. They asked me what this was.
Oh,
and I said
it's a mic, right? Or is it a camera?
Yes, but I said it's not a vape. Right?
Well,
so we're wandering a little bit, seeing if we can find some more Lions fans.
It looks like a lot of places are shut down there. Are they like you guys worried about
still early.
attendance or something?
There's tailgating going on. No, they're all still tailgating.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, sir. I'm live on YouTube with a bunch of Lions fans that have a show. You can see, right? What's your prediction for the score today? Pain. Oh, that's quite the prediction.
That's a Rocky quote. That's
Rocky
it.
3.
Rocky
there
3
you go.
quote. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, Jim, Joe Dexter says that Secret Service had to check Jim out. He is a registered weapon.
That's true. I forgot to tell him that.
Here's another one.
All right. I know they're probably thinking, all right, Lions fans, I'm on a Lions YouTube show. What's your prediction for the score today? Well, I know that. Well, she is, though, apparently.
She should be.
Yeah,
Oh,
she should be.
From Michigan.
She should be. Yeah, they hear you. Any prediction on the score? You can be honest.
It's going to be like 30-something to 7.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of no love coming from these Lions fans today, but that's all right. But thank you guys for being with us today. Oh my gosh, I think the most we've gotten so far is 10 points.
Wow.
10 points.
Yeah.
Wow. But well, Chris, let you guys get back to doing a little more analysis, and I'll still be hanging here backstage and see if I can find some more trouble to cause.
All right. If you find somebody, hit me up on a text, and we'll pop you back in, Jim. Thanks for this.
Okay. Cheers.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
How about that, Brent? That's we have interview with the Commandalorians, which I didn't even know was a thing. I was like, well, who are we talking to right now? But that's my buddy Jim, just representing Lions Gray Mains, even though he is obviously a Washington Commanders fan, so and a great sport. So, any thoughts on that, Brent? Oh, and you're muted.
Yeah, I muted myself when you guys were chatting. I apologize.
Oh, no
because
worries.
I didn't want to have more noise.
Yeah, it's a little noisy there in the stadium for sure. Joe Dexter, thanks for joining us. If anybody's got anything, any comments, the chat is wide open. This is a pretty loose show. Joe, we'd love to know your prediction on the game, and anybody else that's watching, hit us up in the chat. Let us know. Brent, you were saying.
Yeah. The Commanders are coming into this game having lost 4 games in a row. Since they won the first weekend in October, they've lost 4 games in a row, and the games haven't been close. They're now ranked 29th against the pass. They're 22nd against the run, and 23rd points allowed. So I'm fully of the belief that the Lions, with the focus and enthusiasm, we'll call it today, that they're going to play with, that we can expect a Lions victory. Now, as we previously said, even about the Vikings, the other team gets a vote.
Right.
The Commanders get a vote here, and they do have some really, really good football players on the defensive side of the ball. Frankie Louvu, he's reputed as one of the dirtiest players. He should have been suspended this week. This is not my editorial. This is simply what you read out there about Frankie Louvu. He's a guy who has had a lot of issues with the style of play. Bobby Wagner. When we talked previously about Jack Campbell being all NFL, the real challenge to that is Bobby Wagner. I know they select 2 linebackers, but Bobby Wagner is having a fantastic season, 90 tackles, and he's doing really well. We all know who are from Michigan originally. If you're not a Michigander and you're a Lions fan from abroad, I know we've had some folks in England. We have folks in Japan. We have folks all over the place that tune into the show. But the people who are from Michigan know Mikey Sammer still and know how he makes plays. So there's some playmakers on the defense. But the biggest risk to those predictions that were made is our offensive line.
There you go.
And so our ability to inflict our will on them in the running game and our ability to do what we want to do offensively is going to be tied directly to playing better than they played last week. We've all seen the videos, the analysis of the offensive line play, and how poorly we picked up those double blitzes up the middle, and the twists. So the Lions have got to do what they did between week 1 and week 2, and that is have a very clean, very, very strong game up front. And if that happens, this game could get ugly. If the offensive line plays up to snuff, Chris, then I think what you can expect to see is a score like what the fans were prognosticating there.
So this just in, we do have our inactives for today. We have Eric Hallett out. Quentin Jefferson is out. We knew Kerby Joseph was going to be out today. And so Pat O'Connor out. We knew Jacob Sailors was out. And then it seems like every week we see Mekhi Wingo there listed on inactives. That means Reynolds is active, and what that means is from a kick return perspective, you're going to probably just put Reynolds in place of Jacob Sailors. So you're going to move him up there, and all places where there was Jacob Sailors, you're going to see a lot more Craig Reynolds. So we're going to be seeing more Netflix today. That's kind of not a lot of surprises here. You touched on the offensive line. We know with Mahogany out until late December, we're going to have Coyote Awashika stepping in at guard. And so that's really the only change. I think we were all kind of worried about what was happening. Decker's obviously always questionable. Even Panay got dinged, but we knew early in the week he was gonna make it work, and obviously Tate's in as well. So from a offensive line perspective, it's really just that one kind of backup that, but we had some issues last week at Minnesota, and those issues were picking up these blitzes from these guys and leaving Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield to block, as you would say, cement trucks and coming in and asking him to do that. I don't know how many, 20 plus times or whatever in the backfield. So we're hoping that Johnny Morton is going to make these adjustments. There's a lot of heat there, and so that heat is hopefully going to be turned into what he did when he returned after the Packers game and did what we did against the Chicago Bears. This is a game, to your point, Brent, that we should win. We're favored. Obviously, we're favored by 8 points at this point, and it's on the road. There's going to be a lot of emotion in that stadium for sure. But Marcus Mariota is their quarterback. Jaden Daniels is hurt. Terry McLaurin is out for the Commanders as well. They've got some players on the defensive side. Their defense has not played well. They've had some serious struggles. But Brent, we can't allow too many pressures. 18 pressures, 5 sacks allowed in Minnesota. And the reality is, Washington lost Armstrong to a season-ending injury not too long ago, and they versus Seattle, they only had 4 pressures. 4 pressures against Seattle. So they're going to have, I guess they're going to be rolling out Von Miller, Jacob Martin. That's kind of their deal. And Awashika, when he was in as a backup, he's had 360 or so career snaps. He's given up 39 pressures and 2 sacks. So, I mean, they have good interior strength, Washington does. Javon Kinlaw, Darren Payne. So I guess in your opinion, Brent, is this the perfect get-right spot for our offensive line, or do you feel like we're in trouble against their interior?
Well, I mean, the good news is we were going into this week thinking we were going to be without our left tackle and potentially our right tackle.
Right.
The good news is that they're both going to play. The potential issue is neither of our tackles have played up to snuff to this point.
That's right.
And Ragnow, Campbell said, MCDC said 2 weeks ago, he's not a rookie anymore. he can't take, have the excuse of I'm a rookie, because once you play as many snaps as he's played to this point in the season, you're not in a situation where you're able to play that rookie card. So what we need to get the running game going. You're talking about a team who's in the bottom tier of teams against the run. You've got to get the running game going. We could not get the running game going against the Vikings, and that was our undoing offensively. So run the football, and look, you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but I would love.
Here it comes.
And what's the reason that we don't get Monty in there running early on early downs? And I am absolutely of the opinion that copying somebody is the ultimate form of flattery. Why is it that we had such a great offensive game plan last year by starting Monty and then working our Ferrari, and that graphic work that you did, Chris, was phenomenal with the
had some fun
with the
had
cement
some fun
truck,
with the shorts. Good, you go to our YouTube channel. I had a little fun. Shall we say AI was involved in the creation of purple cement trucks and blue Ferraris? Sure, we can say that.
But get Monty in there and be physical on early downs and early in the game, and impose our will, and then work the Ferrari in there. And again, Gibbs could take every snap of the game. He is capable. He is absolutely just. We're very lucky to have Gibbs in our repertoire.
Pass blocking though, pass protection. That's not really the spot you want him in, right?
One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, would you say that last week was an anomaly? Because previously him picking up the blitz has not been an issue. I don't, maybe it's just me and I've missed it, but he has not had a problem picking up the blitz and protecting on the other interior. Last week was by far the worst game he's had in terms of picking up blitzes. And he is a very strong man. We've seen him run over linebackers. We've seen him, he's very physical. But in your opinion, Chris, do you think that was an anomaly, or is that a reason for concern?
I think it's a little of both, and I'll explain. I'm not really hedging. I think that Flores called an outstanding game in defensive coordinator, and I mean he took a year to put that scheme together, and I think he really just diagnosed that and dialed that up, and was really looking at what Morton had done, and sort of that became like, what do? You exploit weaknesses, and so that's what good coordinators do. That's what good coaches do when they're putting together game plans. So I got to give him flowers for that, but and I think other teams will look at that and they'll say, I'm going to kind of, that's kind of the blueprint, right? But, can Morton adjust if we start to see that again, right? So there is concern there. There is a little concern for me to say, now I don't think I'm concerned because I don't think every team has the personnel that the Vikings do on defense, nor do they have, Brian Flores' ability as a defensive coordinator. I think he's one of the best in the league. So it's one thing to look at the blueprint of Brian Flores and what he did and say, we're going to do that exact same thing, where the Eagles defense, and then have it actually work, have it be executed properly, and have the, again, we gifted them, some field position with some mistakes that we made on special teams, and some other things that I think needed to be cleaned up. But we didn't deserve to win that game. So I will say I do have some concern in that. But my concern, Brent, is more Johnny Morton making the adjustments when things like that are happening. We talked about this, running more screens. We talked about, and it's not just John Morton making those, and learning from that. It's the players, right? Goff knew that he didn't play well enough. I'm sure Gibbs wasn't happy with how things went. So it was a bit of an anomaly that we saw that, but at the same time, like if we see it become a trend, we see other teams starting to emulate that, and we start to have those same mistakes and losses, then the concern is greater.
Yeah, and again, I sort of set that up to be able to say what's the ultimate form of flattery is copying.
Yeah.
And so that's my concern as well, Chris. And I think you verbalized that very well. The other teams are going to watch the game tape and see where the Lions were vulnerable. And that crossing blitz from your linebackers and what they were doing is something that every team has in their repertoire. And so I think what you can expect to see is the Commanders today, and I almost said Redskins there, but I think you're going to see the Commanders do exactly that. Test it out early, see if Bobby Wagner or any of their linebackers can get pressure on Goff up the middle, because Goff becomes a different quarterback, which this is no surprise. Every quarterback becomes a different quarterback when you've got pressure in your face.
That's right.
And Goff is, he's the 4th rated quarterback in the NFL. He is not the weakest against the blitz. He's not the weakest when the pressure's up the middle. In fact, I would guess he's probably somewhere mid to upper tier as it relates to his ability to handle the pressure and still make throws under duress. But that you don't want him to be in that situation. You want him to have a clean pocket, and if you can establish the run and bang on the Commanders and wear them down a little bit, that play action becomes so sweet for the Lions offense. Expect them to try and get JMO in that deep crossing route that you like. But JMO has got to run better patterns today. Kind of looking more at how do the Lions counter it. You hit it, screens. If they're gonna blitz and become repetitive in their blitz, absolutely. Screen passes with Gibbs and Monty. We've seen Monty, knock down guys and run for another 20 yards. And so the reality is that JMO caused 2 of those interceptions last year in the playoffs by running sloppy routes, not getting and competing for the ball when the ball's in the air. JMO has got to compete for the football, even if he turns into a defender. If there's a pass that's not perfect for him, which we see what happens when it does hit imperfect. He's probably got a pretty high drop rate, but he has to become a defender. If the Lions try to get him into the game plan today with his speed, it's a game changer.
Yeah,
absolute game changer. So I fully expect Laporta, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra. The Vikings double teamed Amon-Ra a lot last week. So
yeah, I think Brent, where I'd like to kind of go, and I'm glad you brought it here. You talked about JMO. We're talking about the wide receiver position, because I think the big bugaboo for the Lions offense is third down, right? And so if we don't get better at third down conversions, not getting to 3rd and 12, 3rd and 7 or more. where defenses can, pin their ears back if you're an edge rusher, a blitz Gibbs in the backfield, and kind of like whatever they're doing, the shells and obviously the percentages of you converting go up dramatically when it's 3rd and 5 or less. And so we just have to do that. And so a lot of people this week are talking about the fact that it might be Isaac TeSlaa time. You're looking at, him having just 3 snaps last week, which is, obviously a season low. Only 1 target in the last 3 games. Not a single catch since his Week 5 touchdown against the Bengals. And if you compare what the wide receiver 3 position has done historically, last year Tim Patrick had 44 targets at this point, and TeSlaa and Raymond are on pace for just 40 combined targets. So obviously, we need this spark on 3rd down. So, Brent, my question to you is getting TeSlaa more involved the answer, or staying with Khalif Raymond's blocking contributions?
Well, it points out further the fact that when you have an elite offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson is an elite offensive play caller. He is incredibly talented and gifted. And in the NFL every year, I'd say there's probably 5 at the most, maybe 6 offensive coordinators who are elite. The Lions were lucky enough to have Brad Johnson for the 4 years that they had him. And so at the end of the day, Johnny Morton is never going to be accused of being elite. And his creativity is lacking as it relates to diversifying the offensive side of the football. And it's actually apparent based upon what you just said. It's apparent because Laporta's targets are down. Leaf is a guy that I remember the Lions last season throwing the ball to Leaf multiple times a game, 2 or 3. Get a couple deep routes in there. Get a couple deep crossing routes with JMO. Diversify the play calling. And the last point that I'll bring up, I think you would probably agree with this, is predictability. Ramsey Marugi, rest his soul, our good Lions list buddy for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
He used to bemoan running the football every first down. And what we noticed over the past few games is what I'll call predictability.
Yeah.
Johnny Morton has become very predictable. And so, when is it that MCDC and MCDC in his press conference, he challenged the question. He said, look, we collectively always plan the game plan, the offensive game plan together as a staff. This is not just on Johnny Morton. So what it gets down to is during the game, Johnny Morton has the con, and Dan Campbell will probably interject himself on 4th down situations. Go for it. Let's run this. That's what a good head coach will do if they trust and believe in their offensive coordinator. I don't think Johnny Morton's to the point yet where he's been able to demonstrate that he can adjust to what the defense is giving him and take advantage of the incredibly talented players that the Lions have on the offensive side of the ball, Chris.
Yeah. It's starting to look like that. It's starting to look like, the scripted plays, things look, you saw the first drive, against Minnesota, things are humming, but when things are breaking down, I think that's where the rubber meets the road. That's what Morton was, and historically when he was with other teams, that was the issue. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of that now. Now, am I ready to just, join with the crowd and say fire Morton? Not yet. I think we have to realize there's a couple of things to. I'm going to be the optimist now, Brent. There's a couple of things I think we can look at and we can say. I think overall there's not a dominant team in the NFC, and so there is a lot more parity than there has been historically. I don't think we're going to be in a situation where we're 14-2 with a last, having to win that game in order to win the division in this year. It just feels like it's not going to be like that. And so, we still got to be better for sure. no question. There's a lot of injuries. We're not the only team that has a number of injuries, and some teams, including the one that we are playing here in about an hour, has way more injuries than us, including their star quarterback. And so I think we have to realize this is an incredibly long season. We've got some guys coming back. We just talked about our left guard with Iwashika that's going to be in. I think we're probably going to see what we saw last year with Mahogany coming in with Miles Frazier, who is back. Will take a few weeks to get himself up to football shape and ready, and have them trust that he can play there. But I'm starting to feel a little more optimistic about your boy Miles Frazier, who was great at LSU. And so there's. These guys are coming back. We got DJ Reed coming back. Terriana Arnold looked really, really good, except in run support last week against Minnesota. But got a pick and looked really good in coverage. And he looks like he's the player that we had hoped he would be. I just need him to be better in run support. So obviously Kerby with his knee. I feel like if the playoffs were tomorrow, he would be playing. Right, I just feel like that's probably they're probably doing as much as they can to give him as much rest as he can in order for him to come back. So from a glass half full approach, it's all that. But Brent, this is a game we can't lose. I mean, if
that's right,
the loss last week felt different, didn't it? I think not only were we a team that was favored, but this is a divisional game. We did not play well. We did not play well enough to win, and we still were in that game. And that almost feels like a double loss in that kind of situation. So they need to get right. This needs to be not just a bounce back, but bounce back confidently. Win double digits or more. Get that team confident, because as you mentioned on last week's show, Brent, we got a Sunday night matchup that's also on the road, and it's against a team that undoubtedly we won't be favored against. There's no question.
Road game. And by the way, I was not being pessimistic about.
Oh no, I wasn't
Johnny
saying you were.
Morton.
Yeah.
No. I'm just saying to there's a lot of folks who are calling for Johnny Morton's head already, and I'm of the opinion that Johnny Morton is a hard worker. Johnny Morton, goes to work at 4 a.m. every day. Johnny Morton spends the hours doing research. Johnny Morton clearly has the experience and the savvy to be a great, what I'll call an offensive assistant. My question is about his ability to be the play caller and to demonstrate diversity in attack. And the one thing that Ben Johnson was brilliant at was setting plays up. So that was really where I was going, Chris, was the fact that Johnny Morton may not be the guy that you end up with in these tough games against the Eagles, in the playoffs. You may have to make adjustments in who's calling the play. But to your analysis and your question, look, I will say that I am concerned about Iwashika, just because of history. What's the greatest predictor of the future? Past performance. And so Iwashika has given up a lot of pressure, but you can account for, and you can help, with the center, double team. There are things you can do, help with the running back up the middle, chipping, etc. So the good news is it's not our left tackle or our right tackle out on an island, and where you have to take somebody and commit double team. Anytime a team has to double team fully because of one person's weakness, that's a bad sign for a team being able to execute a game plan. So the good news is we know Iwashika's got a good base. We know he's a pretty good run blocker. He's kind of got a nasty streak to him. So let's hope with the game plan today that with Iwashika, that the Lions are able to get, to create those seams to let Monty and Gibbs go to work, and then force the Commanders to commit linebackers, and that opens the, what we previously talked about up with Laporta and Khalif and even TeSlaa. And look, I'm of the opinion that TeSlaa is still a rookie. TeSlaa has still got a lot of growth. And it's the rare player in the NFL who can step right in as a rookie and really, really do well as a rookie receiver. And time will tell what he can do, but I wouldn't be opposed to what you suggested at all today, is to work him in, because if you're not going to use Leaf anyway, which I don't know how many targets Leaf's had, but it's not many.
Right.
So, call some plays where you got TeSlaa on the outside, one-on-one in the corner with his size and his hands. He creates matchup nightmares for defenders, is the best way to say it.
That's true. So we do have Jim live from Northwest Stadium. So he's showing the players are out warming up. Looks like the Lions are on the field. Looks like they're coming onto the field there, or leaving, or one or the other. It looks like they're joining. So we're still a good 40 minutes from the hoopla starting. So they're out here. They're out. This is warm-ups. Thanks again, Jim Fuse from Fusion Marketing, who's there at Northwest Stadium with this look of what's going on there. And yeah, we've been this far, Brent. We didn't mention that the Lions are wearing the silver pants today, and this is the first time with their actually the second time with the with these with the new uniform and the silver pants. I actually like the marshmallows better, but I guess the fans and a lot of people were looking for the silver pants. What do you think? What do you think, Brent? You think maybe this is something we got to just try something different to kind of mix things up, and maybe these guys will play better with some silver pants? What do you think?
Well, if you remember, William Clay Ford was a huge traditionalist.
Mm-hmm.
And he was all about the silver pants.
Yeah.
And so I think there's times you have to kind of go back to tradition and mix it up. And look, why not play an old foe like what were the Redskins and now the Commanders, and have them wear the silver pants. Now, history suggests that we haven't done so well against the Redskins and Commanders over the years. In fact, at one point, we had the longest losing streak in NFL history of 29 or 30 years, I believe it was.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. If you search, I wish Mike was here today to look that up, but it was a long time between victories over the Washington Redskins before they became the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. The Washington Commanders lead the series 32-16.
Because it was like 1970s to the 2000s.
Oh yeah, there's a huge gap. So from 1968 all the way up until 1997, there was losses from the Detroit Lions. That's an incredible stat.
How's the old gray mane memory, right? I couldn't remember the specifics, but I knew it was a long
They beat them in 1999, and that was the first time they had beaten them since 1965.
And how many games were there in there? There weren't a ton of games. There were not, but there were certainly, like you play every 3 or 4 years. But the Redskins were continuously
18.
On top of the NFL.
It was 18 in a row.
Yeah, terrible, huh? But now our numbers are much better since we started winning against them. And now
Jim is chanting. Jim, I'm going to ask you to unmute, and then we'll just see how loud they are, so we can. I'm going to ask him to unmute and see if we can hear the Lions fans. Maybe they're chanting Jared Goff.
It's a little bit of a challenge because they apparently like to play really loud music before the game. Yeah. But I will tell you that when the Lions came out, the crowd was going wild, and I don't mean the Redskins crowd or Commanders crowd, but the Lions. And eventually the Washington fans did start to boo, so I'm glad to hear that. I will say that it's kind of funny that this young little man down there has his big chain on with the Lion on the end of it. So you got some young fandom here at the stadium, and of course we are expecting a appearance at some point. I don't know where, from the guy that lives at Pennsylvania Avenue, because I have seen Secret Service, unless it's J.D. Vance, but I don't think that's the case. It's funny, Chris. I heard your stat about the history of the matchup, and I know for me. Oh, John Riggins is here. They're showing him on the jumbotron. We could use him today for sure in his prime.
I'd be okay if he suited up for you.
And so they got, at least I do see Debo. Yes. Yeah.
Don't smoke
So
or
no
vape
vaping or smoking for me today. So I think I can meet that requirement.
Do you guys have a real problem in Washington, smoking and vaping or something?
Apparently we do. That's one of those things that I'm trying to do my part. Now you will see last week up there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but those are the numbers that have been retired by Washington. And last week when we were here, they finally, after long overdue, Hall of Famer Art Monk's jersey was retired.
Art Monk was awesome. He was one of my favorite Redskins, and it took a while for him to get in the Hall of Fame as well, I remember.
Yes. Even though when he retired, he was the all-time leading receiver in catches. Mm-hmm. It did take him a while, and that's where you wonder sometimes. He was always a quiet guy, though, kind of like Chris Stone, very quiet. Chris is very quiet. I have seen a lot of number 20 jerseys here from Detroit, so he's obviously very popular. And there's a gentleman wearing one of my favorites of all time, Heineke, but we could use him today. Apparently he's at home in Georgia, but I don't think he has to sleep on his sister's couch anymore. I think he's done okay for himself. Yeah. But I did have a couple friends say maybe we need to call him back up and bring back the magic. You can see we've actually even got the Fox camera there. I thought about jumping on it, but I thought maybe I would get in trouble. So
well, here I should have given you a Gray Mains. I should have given you a Lions Gray Mains sticker. You could have handed it to him there.
There you go.
Get us some free Fox love. Awesome, Jim.
Yes.
Thank you for this.
Thank
this is
guys.
Great, and we're Jim. You've got a fan. It's the 2 fan is loving the onside footage. Is expecting to win, but he's got a quick question. Who gets fired if the Lions lose to the lowly Commanders? I think.
Ooh.
Wow. I don't know about that. That might not be a question for you, Jim, since you're a Commanders fan.
Well, I mean, you guys have new coordinators, so I got to give you that. I mean,
you want him? I'll trade you our offensive coordinator. I'll trade you an offensive coordinator for an Art Monk jersey. What do you say?
That sounds like a good deal, right? Yeah.
All right, Jim, there's a lot of noise coming from where you're at. Jim, I appreciate you doing this for us. Enjoy the game, and go Lions.
I hope I can, at least till halftime.
Thanks, Jim. Do you have a prediction for the game?
Oh, yeah, I'll give you a prediction. I hate to say this, but I'm going to go 28-17 Lions.
Oh.
I'm using my head and not my heart.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Great work, Jim. We appreciate you being boots on the ground there at Northwest Stadium. Have fun and safe travels back to Atlanta, my friend.
Thank you.
All right, man. See ya. How about that? I know it was crazy noisy, so I had to mute it. So the 2 fans in the house, and the 2 fan wants to know who gets fired. Who gets fired if the Lions lose to the lowly Commanders? I'm going to say one thing, and Brent, I'm going to let you talk about this because we did talk about the quarter. We didn't talk to. I think there's really only one guy. Well, there's maybe two guys that are like their seats are warmer today, and one is a lot warmer, and that's John Morton. But our special teams better do well, better than they did last week, or we could be looking at that coordinator as well as potentially on a hotter seat. But I will say this, Brent, and I'll roll it over to you to answer the two fans question, and that is, this is the NFL. These are professionals. These are highly trained athletes, and even though the Commanders are 3-5, have lost 4 in a row, and they're down a lot of people. You've got a lot of guys that are playing their hearts out today because they have more than just this game to play for. And if we don't play, if we have another letdown on our side, it's very possible that the Commanders end up winning. I mean, they're obviously they're favored. And I predict that they'll win, but it is the NFL. There are upsets. I mean, if you got up this morning and watched the game in Germany, no one thought the Falcons had a chance against the Colts, and the Colts ended up eking it out in overtime. So this is the NFL, and so I don't think you're going to see somebody get fired right after the game. Now, if we lose in a terrible fashion and it's just an awful embarrassment, I mean, maybe we can talk about it, but I don't think anybody's getting fired today after the game if we lose. What do you think, Brent?
No, I don't think anybody gets fired. It's premature to talk about that. I think, again, the Lions are still, I think, the 4th highest scoring team in the NFL, and they haven't played up to snuff.
That's right.
We talked a little bit about, what has not happened. What has happened is that they are still in a situation to where they're a top 5 NFL scoring team. They are right there at the top of their division. And just by the way, the Panthers just lost. The Bears and the Vikings are both losing. And look at how things turn around from a week ago.
Yeah.
And as MCDC is always pointing out, November's going to sort things out. Who's the contenders? Who's the pretenders? And we find out today if the Lions are in the contender bucket or in the pretender bucket. And based on the success over the last couple seasons, there is no reason to think that the Lions are not contenders. There's no reason to think that. And MCDC said this week as well. We didn't even talk about a couple other things that he brought up. He said we are so close. There are just and being critical. He was being critical. There are just 1 or 2 breakdowns on every play. We are so close to this thing blowing up in a good way. And so, what you could expect today is a much crisper offensive game plan. It's going to have his hands all over it. You can expect that the Lions defense is going to play much better than what they played last week. And what we talked about last Wednesday night, by the way, we'll be back on Tuesday nights for everybody. But what we talked about on Wednesday night was the rushing game of the Vikings and how we gave up, taking those 2 plays out that Dan wanted to point out. It was still 3.8 yards per rush. That is not Detroit Lions football.
Yeah.
That is not, what we have come to expect from the Detroit Lions with our front and our linebacking core. Shep doesn't go anywhere for, until he gets an opportunity. The only one that's kind of under the hot sun right now is Mr. Morton.
Yeah.
And so that I think the Lions make internal moves to adjust play calling responsibilities long before they would ever terminate him, because he works hard and he's a great analyst. So there's great value in that, right?
Absolutely. And we're getting some more shots here. The players warming up on the field with the silver pants. I mean, they're pretty light silver. I mean, it's almost like you can kind of not tell that they're silver. It almost looks a little bit like, the marshmallow uniforms with the white pants, except the blue stripes on the side. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it. I'm kind of feeling this uniform. This looks pretty cool. Although Gibbs looks cool in whatever uniform he's got. And then there's
and J-Mo. Look at J-Mo.
I mean, J-Mo.
I love how he wears the baggy shirts
right
underneath with his sleeves.
I mean, listen, we didn't even talk about this just because of the loss, but the J-Mo touchdown against Minnesota is just outstanding. Just a rope from Goff. Great play on the sideline. And then, J-Mo is an underrated player in terms of, well, we talk about his blocking all the time, which is, really one of my favorite parts about it. I mean, obviously his speed and his ability to just take the top off the defense, but his blocking ability is great. But after the catch, man, he's got this weird, like almost bendy body kind of way about him that where he could just keep himself, the body balance that he had on the sideline. It's just, man, I wish he had, got way more opportunities than he had. We talked about that earlier. I do feel like he's kind of the X factor in this game. Clearly, we need to run the ball better. Clearly, we need to have be better on third downs. I don't know if, it just seems like, 14 is really the gas pedal for us. Like once Amon-Ra St. Brown gets that catch for a first down, first or second drive, that's when things start to go, right? And that just feels like that always is the motor. That's the gas pedal for us. But in the first drive, we saw a lot of Laporta. I mean, there's no question we have the weapons there, and I think that's why Morton, to the two fans' point about like who's going to get fired, and the fire Morton hashtag was out there, and that whole thing. I mean, Lions fans are going to do that, and we got a lot of that this past weekend's show. But we have so many weapons. That's why Morton is getting so much heat. Like, dude, why aren't we throwing to Laporta more? It worked really well on the first drive. Can we? Why are we doing the same play? It looks like we get it 1 yard every time we're going off tackle to Gibbs. Those adjustments are going to be critical. I feel like he's going to do it today. I feel like, that's me. Maybe it's a little Lions optimism. Maybe I'm putting on my Honolulu blue buffs here and talking through it. But you saw what he did after that game. We thought in Green Bay, oh my gosh, we didn't know where to start with that. And we thought, oh my gosh, but then we hung a 50 burger on the Bears. And I feel like, we saw that against the Bucs. We saw the Bucs game. It wasn't the offensive, juggernaut that we're used to seeing. But I think our predictions, Brent, I put them up here on the screen. Our predictions from the Graymanes staff. Dan's not with us tonight. Mike's not today. Neither is Mike. But Brent, you've got 31-14 Lions. That's very optimistic, considering 8 points, but kind of on par with a lot of the Lions that Jim was talking to at Northwest Stadium earlier in the stream. And I've got them in a closer matchup with the Commanders. I think it's going to be a tougher game, and I've got the Lions pulling it out 24-20. So pulling out the game, but certainly not covering with the 8-point spread. Mike's got them 24-17, similar score. So maybe Mike feels somewhat of the same way. Got to show me with that offense before we're ready to give you 30-plus points. And then Dan's got a 10-point spread with the Lions winning 27-17. So, Fan, if you're still with us, Joe, if you're still with us, anybody who's watching and listening, we see that there's a bunch of people that are out there doing that right now. Give us your score prediction before we sign off. I'd like to know what everybody's feeling, and what they feel like is the X factor in this game. Brent, your X factor?
X factor is stopping the run. Stopping the run. If the Lions can make the Marcus Mariota-led Commanders offense one-dimensional, it's going to be a long day for the Commanders. So that's the X factor, and I'll give an offensive X factor as well.
Yep.
I wholeheartedly believe the Lions have to be able to run the football today. Got to be able to line up and run the football and be successful, because you take the crowd out of it. You got to get up early. You got to maintain that lead. And what we saw in Baltimore, if you remember, we were up, and if we keep the foot on the gas pedal, and don't go into a prevent defense late, then I think it's very realistic to think that the score that me and the Lions fans online there at the Commander Stadium predicted to be realistic. And remember, we played a bad game last week and we scored 24 points. So what does that tell you?
Yeah.
You clean those things up. And even the Bucks game, same thing. One or two. I mean, there's been so many times this year when the Lions should have scored so many more points, and we're fourth in the NFL in scoring.
Yeah.
Clean it up, get the play action passing game going, run the ball, and I think this is very realistically a game that the Lions would handily.
I'm going to give one more key to the game, and I'll get to the two-fan question here, and I think this will finalize the answer for the two-fan. My final key to the game is third down conversions for the offense. I mean, it's just that is it's a huge chasm between the offense from last year and the offense of this year is third down conversions, which means getting in third and shorter situations. And what it kind of plays into Brent's first key, which is running the ball. So if we're running the ball effectively, chances are we're not getting in as many thirds. And if we are getting in thirds, they're not 3rd and 9, they're not 3rd and 14s, and we're not making mistakes and penalties that drive us behind the sticks and behind schedules. So the question here from the two-fan is, I've got a group of fans here with me watching on the podcast on the Gray Mains YouTube page. Boy, the two-fan, you should rename your handle the Gray Mains fan, because we love our fans. But thank you for watching, and hello to the group. Hello from YouTube land. Where are y'all located? Let us know where you're located. We'd love to know that. He says, one of my bids, nicknamed Tar, wants to get a question in. What are the 3 keys to secure a victory today? So I think we answered that before the question came in, but I kind of peeked and saw that the question was coming in, Tar, and we do appreciate that. But it's running the ball, it's stopping the run, it's converting on third downs. It does sound a bit sort of simple. Run the ball, stop the run, right? But it's like sometimes when you get in a funk, you've got to break down to the fundamentals, and you got to be able to do that. I think we went this whole time, Brent. We never talked about our defensive line. We never talked about Hutchinson. We never talked about the fact that they've got a piecemeal kind of wide receiver court. They got a really good tight end, Zach Ertz, who played for the Lions for a cup of coffee. And so, I think Mariota's a very mobile quarterback. He's going to kind of, test and twist our linebackers a little bit, because he's kind of a 2 read and go guy who's very quick and shifty. But, I'm not so sure he's as much of maybe a quarterback we can fear from a leader perspective with his arm. And so we may see a pick or two from our secondary. I'd love to see Terrion Arnold get his second. I'd love to string together some consecutive games for him in the secondary. But any thoughts on the defense before we wrap up, man?
Yeah, defense. I think we talked about it early, Chris. The ability to stop the run. We are not used to having teams run to a 4-yard per carry clip. And so, stopping Washington from ever getting going with the running game and forcing Marcus Mariota to become one-dimensional and throwing the football. That's absolutely the key to the game, and truthfully the key to the rest of the Lions season, because you better be able to stop the run next week against Saquon Barkley. You better be able to line up and stop the Eagles from running the football. Doesn't mean the Eagles can't still score. They've got a fantastic receiving core and a really top shelf quarterback. But the key to the rest of the season is, as we did last year and how we got to 15-2, was stopping the run and forcing teams to throw.
Outstanding stuff as always, DBC. This has been awesome, folks who have joined us live today. Thank you. Again, thanks and shout out to my good buddy and business partner Jim Fuse for joining us live at Northwest Stadium. I didn't hear a Jared Goff chant, but it's coming, and hopefully we'll be hearing that late in the game. Because we know when we can hear the Lions fans coming through the broadcast and chanting Jared Goff in the fourth quarter, that means we kind of have things under control. Also, the "Let's Go Lions" chant is always nice to kind of hear near the end of the game, especially as it didn't look like a takeover there with blue, but he did say, boy, there's a lot of blue here, and I don't think he would say that just to blow smoke our way, but they travel pretty well. I know you travel to a number of games.
Yeah, in fact, if I wasn't here in Orlando for a conference for work, then I would absolutely be in Washington this week, in Philadelphia, and next week. Would love to have taken in that road trip and stayed in the DC area and watched those games live. But the quick update for those of you that are watching online, the Bears just scored with a minute left in the game. Russell Wilson is in. Not sure what happened there, but the Bucs are losing. Lots of the teams that the Lions would need to lose to kind of retain those conference numbers by winning today is happening. And if the Giants can come back here and score late, then it would be almost a clean sweep, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like the Vikings are in trouble against the Ravens, 27-19 currently there. The Bucs, which obviously is NFC, not a divisional opponent, but means something to us, are in some trouble against the Patriots. Drake May looks like he's a real player. And we've got a question here from the 2-fan. Wrap-up question from a Detroit local. Vizinator or Bizzies? What's your favorite? I don't know what Vizinator and Bizzies are. Do you know what those are, Brent? Should I have said that? Should I have said that out loud? Is this a chat joke? Is everybody getting a chuckle there on the YouTube channel? Let's look up. I'm afraid to Google it, but I'm doing it. Am I gonna have to clear my cookies after this? Oh, okay. So it looks like Vizzy's Pizza Palace is in Westland. Oh, I can tell you already. So first of all, obviously, I don't know either one of these pizza places, but I can tell you there is no other pizza for me. No question, whether I'm in the Detroit area or I'm anywhere else, than Buddy's Pizza. There's no. I mean, for me, it's like everyone else can stand down. That is my, and I'm looking at Bizzy's as a cold brew. I mean, I order Bizzy all the time as cold brew, so I don't know what Bizzy's is. So, Brent, what do you got?
Bizzy's Pizza. Yeah, but I'm with you, Chris. In fact, because we've got the little condo there in Greektown, we go to Buddy's all the time. I'm sure Crystal's probably had enough.
I love
for life.
Pepperoni, mushroom, Italian sausage, Buddy's Pizza. Even their salad is great. We always go. The family loves it.
Those meatballs.
Oh yeah, it's just outstanding. I guess there's now a Buddy's in Detroit Metro Airport. So they just put one in. I forget what terminal, McNamara, I guess, terminal or whatever it is. But yeah,
where Delta is, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So and this is not. It looks like these pizzas are maybe New York style. They're slices. I know with Buddy's it's Sicilian. It's square, Detroit style. So this may be a different style.
And the meat and cheese are inverted.
Yep, exactly.
Right? That's the whole premise.
And then the sauce goes on the top, and then the crust is caramelized. And the pans are seasoned. It's a really, it's just a great pizza. I feel like we need a sponsorship now, Buddy's. If you're watching and listening, we just gave you a free. A free plug. All right.
Free plug.
But folks, everyone enjoy the game. Hopefully enjoy the Lions' victory today against the Washington Commanders. And as always, go Lions.
Go Lions. See you
Busted
Tuesday.
outside left. Jameer down to the 10. Jameer to the 5. Jameer to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Hand off Berry. Skirts to the left side. Breaks the tackle. And he will take it in. Touchdown!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! That's what